All right, I think YouTube is working. And then I'm gonna start Weston's Facebook live stream as well. Hello? Am I going live? No. Let's see, go live. Yes. All right, just getting started here. Not quite ready for asana class, still a few minutes before 11, but I thought I would check. I'm trying to stream both YouTube and Facebook Live at the same time. So I have both going now. All right. Yay. So I'll just talk a little bit about what West End is trying to do this week again, and these weeks. We're not sure exactly what's happening, right? So our physical studio had to close, of course, and we are trying to just keep our yoga teachers connected to their students. It's funny, we were advised if you're not an essential business to shut down. And it's funny because, in my mind, yoga is such an essential thing, but physically we can't really be with our students in the same way. So we're having our teachers stream. We are inching towards a YouTube permanent offering, but over here is where the Facebook and our YouTube channel get populated as well. So we're hoping this week we all get proficient with the YouTube videos if we wish. And the teachers will still be patterned fear or patterned, apathy. If we don't want to look at if our consciousness doesn't want to look at what we're doing, we can sometimes get projected into even stronger patterns that could be toxic. But it's also about telling a different story in a way so that yoga reminds us that this consciousness that we have within us, this degree to look at our own thinking, to critically examine our thoughts and our actions, to reflect not just on the world around us, but on the world within us with even greater, it seems that maybe that there's a little more complex conscious awareness maybe in the human animal. And if we tell ourselves the yoga story about that we are a special spark of divinity, just like all sentient beings, and that we, with our extra degree of self-awareness, could potentially be of service to other beings. We could be of service to the planet. And I know that sounds like such a rainbow butterfly story, and you're like, yeah, right, humans are not of service to the environment, right? But we could be. We would have to decide that we want to be. And yoga reminds us that we can. We have that power to make such choices and to align ourselves with actions. We just have to declare it as a value. We would just have to declare it as a potential that we are working towards. Our consciousness is greatly shaped by our experiences. So we were all born into a culture. Most of us are born into a culture that teaches us that we are superior to other species, that we are superior to animals, that we can exploit animals, that we can exploit the earth, we can extract from the earth, and we don't need to work in a balanced way with it. I mean, in the United States, that's my understanding of what Western cultures teach. That we can tell ourselves a new story anytime. And we could start now that we are not better than other species, and we are not superior to the earth, and that we could choose and declare the value of caring for it, as our yoga ancestors have reminded us. We have that potential within our consciousness. So that would be one of my themes for the class today, that with this spring revival, we just had the vernal equinox, and with this spring revival, we have this uprising of energy. That's the most important thing. It's going to keep this uprising in your body. Then I'm going to offer a bunch of fun shapes. I meant to put together a sequence, and then I was fiddling around with YouTube, so I didn't. So I'm using Tracy Davis's awesome book called Speaking Shapes for her spring practice. I'll be loosely basing off of that. There's some changes to it, but it's such a great book and sequence for spring. But just take all the poses as fun. See if you can have fun with them. Some of them are kind of challenging. Some of them will challenge your balance or your strength. Most important thing is that you're safe, you feel no pain, and that you're doing this breath exercise. Ready? Let's get started with that. So you could come to standing. And this breath is the most important thing today. I'm going to show it. You can come to standing and have your feet a comfortable distance apart. Have your knees bent, have your feet parallel, maybe rest your hands, or even your elbows on your legs if that feels nice. And I'm going to try to show this breath exercise really clearly, just showing you that. And then as you exhale, imagine that your belly button is pushing back towards your spine, towards your back body. So every time as you breathe in, allow your navel to expand away from your spine. And every time as you breathe out, try to really pull the belly button towards the spine. Take a few like that. And if you're comfortable, you can just stay in that squat position. Of course, you can do that in any position. That's the goal today, is that we do it throughout lots of shapes. So just find a shape that's comfortable for you, maybe squatting a little bit, getting some heat in the legs, working on your exhales, navel towards spine. And then we're going to take it with a bit of a variation. I'm going to show this one. So now on our inhale, we're going to really move the whole spine into a bit more of a back bend. And as you exhale, your belly moves back, but so does your spine move back. So it's like the whole spine is moving. So the inhale, you're extending your chest forward, sticking your butt out. And as you exhale, you can round, and your belly button is still moving towards the spine, but the spine is moving. Take a couple like this. You can breathe faster or slower than me. I'm trying to show sort of an average pace. When I practice by myself, I do it really slow. I like to go really, really slow. Maybe you want to go faster. And if you do want to go faster, you could do it even like kind of like sort of snappy version. I'll show a few rounds of that. It could be like inhaling open the front, exhaling close to the front. Breathing through your nose if you can. I think my nephew is watching, so I bet if he's trying that, he just needs a tissue now, right, buddy? I thought that would be funny for him. But yeah, sometimes when you breathe fast through your nose, then you're like, oh yeah, I do need a tissue. I'm going to go back to a little bit slower. We'll make these our last few. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. We're warming up the body. We're getting that breath awareness of the exhale, moving your navel back. Let's make this the last one. At the bottom of this exhale, let's try holding our breath for a few seconds. So again, you're exhaling, you're pulling in your belly button. Hold your breath for a few seconds. You can close your eyes and really picture your belly and your spine moving towards each other. And then inhale and release it. And you can relax and come down onto all fours now. So we're going to come onto hands and knees for table shape. And we're going to do this on the earth. Sometimes you just want to scratch one side of their body against a tree, or you just kind of see like this, all four limbs giving you freedom to move your body. You could even like make like a really big circle a few times, clearing the edges of your spine. And these last few breaths here, come back to that exhale awareness. Every time you exhale, your navel moves towards the spine. We're going to finish up. So you're coming back to a centered all four kind of position. And we're going to take thread the needle. So you'll take one arm up into the air. So it's my right arm. I feel like it looks wrong on the screen sometimes. This is my right arm. So now if it was your right arm threads underneath your body. So you can thread the needle to the side of the head, side of the shoulder. You can rest your head on the ground if that feels nice. That top hand can do anything you like. Sometimes that's nice to take up high or put it on your body. Come to those exhales where you're pulling in your navel. Really focusing today on your exhale, moving your belly button towards your spine. And when you're ready, you push into the top hand, and then your bottom hand, maybe that's still your right arm, can come up to the sky. Maybe you stay for another moment there. And then we'll switch sides. So opposite hand lifts. And then as you thread the needle, it comes under your body. And again, our goal is to be comfortable resting your head and your shoulder on the earth. Top hand can do whatever you want. And I'm going to show again, you really want to get that exhale to pull in your belly button towards the spine. And you'll push into your top hand to come back up onto all fours. You can lift. Maybe it's your left arm up for another moment here. And then release. And we're coming into puppy dog pose. So if you know down dog, this is puppy dog. It's on its knees. And you can have your hands walking forward now from where you just were. From table, hands forward. And then you just kind of sag down. And if you're new to puppy dog, it might just feel good to stretch your armpits when you do this, or maybe you feel your hips stretching back as you lift them up high. If you've done this a bunch, maybe challenge your stretch. Bend your elbows out to the sides, and imagine with your palms flat on the ground that your elbow points lift towards the sky. You'll get like an internal rotation to the upper arm bones. And if that feels nice, try to keep that as you sink your chest down, collarbones forward. So it's a back bend, and you're staying in that back bend kind of between the shoulder blades for a few more breaths. Every exhale is of great importance. It's that upward moving energy as the belly button moves in. It helps to keep the spring alive in your spine. It helps to move your organs and help support your spinal cord so that there's this fluid. We want to keep the fluid moving towards the top of your head. Your spine is flowing up. And then we're coming back up onto all fours, and we're going to step your feet to your hand. Crawl. I'm crawling my feet to my hands, or you can lift from down dog and step your feet to your hands. And then when you're ready, a standing forward fold. So here, if you want, you could always, if you have yoga props handy, standing forward folds, you could be on a block so that you have some support. You could have furniture, you could have books, you can have anything around that helps your forward fold feel comfortable. But in that forward fold, feel free to bend your knees as much as you need so that your lower back feels happy and your head can just hang down. Exhales to pull the navel in. And when you're in a forward fold, sometimes you can even feel the skin, like your belly and your thighs touch. If it's too much touch, take your feet wider. That gives you more space for your belly. If you don't mind the amount of touch that's happening, use it as information. Try to pull your belly away from your legs up there. Okay, so then we're going to step your right foot back, drop your right knee to the ground, and come up to a low lunge. Okay, so take a couple of slow-moving lunge salutations. In yoga, we use this vinyasa greet, namaskar, like a greeting energy. So we're going to take some slow-moving lunging vinyasa warm-ups. Right knee to the ground, and we lift the arms. And then you're going to step the right foot forward. So do you need your hands, or can you push off that back foot and come to forward fold? And then we'll take the left leg back. Left leg down, arms lift when you're ready. How can you get that left foot forward, standing forward fold? And I said slow, and then I showed it pretty quick. If you're slower, feel free. We're alternating a leg down and a chest that rises. Very gradual movement towards the head again. Alternating, opposite leg drops back. If this is too much on your knees, you could always keep your knees off of the ground. So it's a little harder for balance, but instead of putting your knee on the ground, you can just hover it, and then your lunge is taller. And you could, let's see, there's lots of ways to make it easier or harder. That's what I love about Alignment-based yoga is once you know what you're doing, you can do what you want. So find, maybe there's chairs nearby, maybe you're just standing tall and you don't want to go very big into the fold. So we'll do this for another minute or two. And if you want to, you can get kind of saucy with it. It could be like a big inhale up and a big exhale forward. I swept my arms back. And a big inhale up and a big exhale forward. Every time exhale, navel moves back. You can always exhale out of your mouth every now and then. That can feel really nice. They call that lion's breath. This for another minute, and then I actually have to know how long it is. I never know. And you could look at the clock and be like, she's full of crap. She doesn't know. So let's do a few more each side. Again, you can be going much slower. You could be putting a knee down, spending a couple of breaths on one side, and then very slowly switching for one more rep. Otherwise, it's a few more reps. We're going to make this the last time. Probably your left leg goes back if you're with me to start. And then we'll come to standing forward fold at the head of the mat again. Nice work. We are stepping into a plank pose. So high push-up position, your palms come down, your feet step back, and you're in this high plank position. Here's a great opportunity. You can just drop to your knees or your elbows at any time if this gets heavy or uncomfortable. It's supposed to be hard work, but not painful. So here's a great time. You have a side view there. So there's the curve of my low back. And then again, you want your exhale to pull your belly away from the ground. Can you keep a curve in your low back when you do it? So my shirt's really bunchy, but the idea is that you have a curve in your low back when you pull your belly button in. So plank, we don't want cat pose. We don't want this rounded upper back. We want you to be in a straight line, head looking forward, heart reaching forward. Take a couple more here, maybe 2 or 3 more exhales. Getting that belly button back. One more time. So from high plank here, we lower down. This is called Chaturanga, the bent elbow. I mean, really, that was extended Chaturanga, low Chaturanga, bent elbows to the ground and come down. Pointing your toes behind you, arms by your sides. I like to spin my palms down for this first locust for sure. And you just lift and hover arms and legs. So this could be as low to the ground as you like. Some of you might have a really great big range of motion, but think about what's a comfortable amount of a lift that you can still pull your belly button in. And again, maybe you feel the mat so that when you pull your belly button on your exhales, you can actually feel it moving a little bit off the earth. We are going to move from here back into that plank. So as you plant your palms and tuck your toes, sometimes I like to check myself. Can I lift up like a plank from there? Can you? If not, put your knees down and then back to downward facing dog, it's called. Remember, we did puppy dog before, and you can do that again. On the knees, down dog would be on the feet. Okay, this first, we're going to take a lunge. It's tricky, just do the best you can, and if at any time you want to switch things, just switch things to be comfortable for you. We are going to lift your right leg up in the air behind you. If you're on hands and knees, that works also. And then we're going to step your right foot forward for another one of those lunges. So you've got your right foot forward, left foot back, or, you know, this mirrors and looks weird, but coming up now, try not to put that back knee down. Of course you can if you need to for this tall crescent lunge. So from our tall crescent lunge, we'll take a couple of those breaths, again, looking for the exhales that move your belly button back. One more time. Okay, so we're going back to that three-legged dog. So the same leg that was just forward, you're gonna lift and hover, and then bring that leg up into the air behind you. Now this next part reminds me of Twister. Did you ever play Twister? You would come forward and bring that right knee to left elbow. So try to imagine that like there's a green dot. You're bringing the right knee to the green dot. Let's take it back up into the air behind you. One more time to the left elbow, green dot. Now, we bring the right foot underneath you to the ground. So the right foot comes down. It can even move to the side of you. And I spun onto the outer edge of my back foot. This is called falling triangle. So one way or another, trying to get your left arm up, it's two strong legs. This could be too much. Putting your right knee down, perfectly fine. You can be on your knee or that right foot kind of twisted underneath you. Can you pull your belly button in? Do you want to look up? Do you want to lift your chest? Can you find the exhale that excites the navel energy? One more time. And then three-legged dog again. Lift that leg up high. We'll all come forward into that high plank. So this could be on the knees or the elbows. You stay for a moment. You try to get the navel in on your exhale. And then when you're ready, we'll inhale, exhale to lower down. This time, instead of the arms back by your sides, let me just check something, sorry. You can take locust again. Sorry, this is a thing with the cloud. I was just in the cloud. Arms back by your sides, or you can come into Cobra. So with Cobra, you have your palms flat, elbows bent. You keep your feet on the ground when you lift your chest. So I like to take Cobra, the first one, as low to the ground as is comfortable. Or you could lift up so just your hips are on the ground, your feet are heavy, knees are heavy, hips are still heavy. How high should you go? Do you have pain? If so, back off, come lower. If you can come up very high, I'll say never lock out your elbows, always a little bend and the elbows out to the sides. And if you can get all the way up, no pain, unlocked elbows, lifted chest, looking high, then check yourself on those exhales. Are you in a position where your exhale can still pull in your navel? If it can't move at all, if you can't access your front belly muscles, you should be lower. 3 breaths there. Last one. Pushing back either into puppy dog or down dog or even child's pose. Child's pose is like puppy, except your hips, instead of being up high, you bring your hips to your heels and you bow down. Oof, I always like to curse when I do her sequences. She just puts in such fun things that challenge me so much. Thanks, Tracy. It's a love curse. Okay, so we'll all meet in either table pose or down dog. It's that left leg, the opposite side, left leg lifting. And then we bring the left foot forward for that crescent lunge. So we're taking that lunge on the second side. Maybe it gets part of the way there. You have to like carefully help it up there. And you come up into that tall lunge again, arms lifted. We do a couple breaths here. So again, think about that hugging in action. Your lower back stays put and your belly hugs towards it on an exhale. It is one of the most powerful breaths I know. Yesterday I had done some chores and I was kind of like, ooh, I think I tweaked something. I did a couple of breaths like this, the pain was gone. So I really recommend playing around with it. If you aren't getting the pain to disappear, message me after class. It's definitely, if you keep the curve of your back and learn how to pull in your core, it's one of the greatest ways to help stabilize and protect yourself and get those juices flowing. This will be our last breath in here. And then 3 legs, same left leg, the leg that was forward. That one's gonna go up high to the sky. 3-legged dog, just to challenge you here. You become, sorry, something's happening, I'm gonna delete. We go to the thing. Doug, you're awesome. 3-legged dog is in the air. That left knee to the elbow. So now it's the green dot. Remember we were playing Twister? You bring that knee towards the opposite side elbow. We take it up again. You could do like 20 of these a day. It'll put Strengthen your core. Let's just take it right from here to that fallen triangle. So from that place underneath the body with the twist, you put the foot down, or of course the knee. If you put the foot down, you want it off to the side, so the foot comes down across the midline of your body over to the side of the mat. Then there you can see that my back foot's spun down, and you can take that right arm up if you're with me in these sides. And so here you have that fallen triangle side plank, looking for the exhales that pull in the navel. It's more important than whether you lift that top hand. It's more important than whether you straighten the bottom leg or not. The exhale is your best friend here. One more time. Okay, so bring two hands to the ground. Try to float that leg back up into the air. Whew. And then forward into high plank. So as you come into the high push-up position, gather the exhale energy, keep it on an inhale, and then we're all lowering down. Whew. When I have to breathe, I'm just going to give you a rest. You can rest your head on your hands. If you're like, I love these back bends, the ones where you lay on your belly and you get a little bit of a lift to the chest, you can always take them throughout the rest of the sequence. I'll just say, the Chaturanga back bend vinyasa options here. You could already be up into the Cobra. I'll just take you there for one breath this time. Okay, so here we go. So flat palms by the side of the chest, long, strong Cobra tail. Lift your chest on an inhale, just one inhale. And then can you come back like a plank? Can you lift with your core? Can you keep your navel engaged? You couldn't see it. That was a perfect plank. And then back you go to downward facing. I thought I heard. Yes, baby Jamie's here. You coming in? Do you want to join? You don't have to. In downward dog or table pose. What are you doing? You can come in. It's so much better with friends, right? Am I right? So downward dog, puppy dog, child's pose. Catching our breath. So is that fun when we go from a down dog or a table pose? In order to step a foot forward, there's lots of ways to get it there. You could drop to your knees, and then you have a bit of a shorter leverage. If you like that three-legged dog, your right leg would be leaning again. Is that fun? And then stepping the right foot forward. So we all have the right foot forward. Again, I think it looks mirrored on the screen sometimes, but the right foot is forward. This time, instead of facing the bent knee, we're going to turn away from it, spinning your left heel down for warrior two. So you come to, oh, I thought you were into it. Bye, Jamie. You come to warrior two with a bend, of the front knee. Back foot is now flat. Yay, so it gives you another chance. Maybe if you're like really digging this, I do, I think I made that clear. Maybe it's fun to put your hands on your organs. What are we moving? The belly button itself, the organs of digestion. So this is a really good detox, cleanse kind of breath. When you exhale and pull in the navel and compress your organs, it is so good for your immune system, for your digestive system, for your endocrine system. It's good for all your systems. I can't name one that it won't help. So go ahead and take a few more of those strong compressive exhales. If you'd like for warrior two, you could have your arms out to a T and look over the bent knee side, right fingers, if you wish. Trying to get that exhale is worth your time. You can do it anywhere, not just in a yoga class. You can do it anytime you're feeling stressed or too busy or you need some energy. It is both grounding and energizing. This will be our last breath here. And then you're going to release from warrior two. We're going to turn your feet now so they're all facing the side of the mat. Wide-legged forward fold. Maybe you want to, again, like we started class, with our hands to our legs like that. If you wish, you could slide your hands to your ankles or your feet and bow your head. We'll take the first few breaths here, just forward folding, any amount that feels nice. The feet are parallel and you're bowing down. Again, there's poses when your back rounds. And so it's like we did in that beginning where your back is in a rounded shape. Even when it's in that rounded shape, That's where your spine is. You can still move your belly button back towards it. Okay, so we're going to lift up, and we're going to take some twists here. Come to a halfway lifted version if you were lower. I'm going to show this one head on to start. So we're taking your right arm first. Doesn't look like your right arm, but it's my right arm. Up into the sky on an inhale. And then as you exhale, come back down. We'll be alternating arms. Oh, on YouTube, it looks like your left arm. This is my left arm. And then back down to a square spot. So alternating your arms. Exhaling down. You know what to do on your exhales. And if this is really like a comfortable range of motion, you could bring your hand, and you could also get some of those faster chops. I'm showing that really fast. Again, when it's me by myself, I usually go slow. I love a slow guy. I love slow motion yoga. To me, all those little degrees in between the moves are fun and valuable. But if you are today getting more value from fast, go for it. It's a spring practice. This will be our last full round. Take your time. Probably want to end on your left arm, I think. And when you've completed that, you're going to walk your hands to your right foot. So we're turning back to our lunge that we started in. Come back to that three-legged dog if you wish, just giving that leg a lift. You can bend the knee, turn the hip open, wherever you are. Think about your butt. You want to rest in child's pose, down dog. Do you want to go into a three-legged plank with that same right leg lifted? Getting your belly back there is pretty powerful. Maybe you're here for one more in-breath, and as you exhale, lower to 2 feet on the ground. Belly down, back bend is a choice. Maybe you're ready to lift. I don't know if you can see it, but up dog, I'm off my knees. There's a lift here just on hands and feet touching the earth. And then can you come back like a plank back into downward dog, or of course puppy dog, or child's pose. Or heroes. I'm just gonna do one I didn't mention. I just like to sit sometimes and just catch my breath. Going from up dog, plank energy back is like, you won't be breathing for a few seconds. For me. Okay, so then from downward dog, we'll meet again. Again, remember, these are a lot of shapes. They're fun. They're supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be fun and playful. Other than that, maybe if you're moving your legs, you'll still be facing a device. You could be facing away from the device. So then coming into the side lunge, the first few I was touching the belly just in case that helps you. Also think about the space above your navel and below it. So it's actually like there's the navel, there's the sides, then there's above and below. Those are some pretty powerful places too. Most of us, I'd say this is true, I'll say this, it seems like maybe more so the female pelvis is a little bit hard to get the lower. And then sometimes it's true that the broader shouldered person has a harder time getting the upper, just for what that's worth. Think about your body. I shouldn't have gendered it. Think about where your width is in your bone structure, and can you hug in there? That's what I meant to say, sorry. Maybe your arms are out, maybe you're looking over your left fingers for the last few breaths here. Man, I don't lunge very deep. Your front thigh could be parallel to the ground. That's better. Oh gosh. Big, big lunge as possible. Make this our last one. And then releasing to that wide-legged fold, turning your feet so they're parallel to each other, bowing down. First few breaths, just bowing, and then I'm going to be showing you one of my very favorite things to do for core and for this breathing, and I'm going to have a block. You could also just put your hand to your knee. I just like to be a little in between floor and knees. All right, so we're going to start with just the right arm for our wide-legged forward fold twists. And we're just going to do the same arm over and over on this one. So remember, before we were inhaling up and exhaling down in front of our faces. For this one, you're inhaling up and you're exhaling, reaching forward away from your hips. Oh, hi. And then it's inhaling up, and you can watch with your eyes where your fingers go, exhaling forward away from your hips. If you can keep your legs pretty strong and steady during that exhale where the arm is extending away from your hips. If you pull your belly button in, it's magical. So shoot for that magical stretch, really long from hips to fingertips. Belly button in. Love it. This will be our last one here. And we'll switch sides, opposite sides. So it's my left arm going up vertically to the sky on the inhale. On the exhale, it's forward away from your hips. Your eyes can follow your fingers once you get a sense of what's going on here. You could also just look down and let your arm not go as high. If you want to try it, but not quite as big, feel free to make it smaller moves closer to the earth. So our last one coming up right here. Wide-legged fold here at the end. Let's take full rest, full relaxation down towards the earth. Turning towards your left foot, we'll walk your hands over that way. So it was towards your left foot, which was the front leg before. Whatever your front leg was, walking your hands back towards it, stepping back, down dog, child's pose, puppy dog. I'm not going to show it, or yes I am, I'll show it this time. Inhaling into high plank. Oh, sorry, swing your left leg up into the air. I forgot the three-legged plank for you. So whichever leg was just forward, it didn't get a chance to be a three-legged plank yet. Oh, that's no fun. Good thing I remembered. So the opposite leg is having a chance to be in a plank. And then we'll lower down 2 feet to the ground. We'll come into the back bend if you want it. And then push back to down dog, child's pose, or puppy dog. Sorry about that. We're moving on here. So we've got one more tricky sequence. Just do the best you can with this. This one's fun. Have fun with it, okay? Don't push yourself anywhere. It's not safe. The right leg would lift again. The right foot steps forward for warrior one. So it's kind of a mix of the things we've lunged so far. Your back foot comes down, but this time you face forward on the mat. So warrior one, Virabhadrasana one, you face towards the lunging front knee, the arms lift high. So just do the best you can range of motion wise. Here's our inhale, high lifted warrior one, back heel on the earth. Your exhale, your belly button pulls in. Whew. It's like I wasn't doing it at all. Whoa, whole new world. Let's do that another time for me. Okay, then we're going to take Revolved Triangle. So you straighten the front leg a little bit, and you cartwheel. You have that same intention of bringing your right fingers up, wide legs, left fingers down. So you could be, I'm showing you high up on your knee. Maybe you know the range of motion there to go lower, towards the floor, towards a block. Just Revolved Triangle, which is hard enough, right? Like one of the hardest standing poses. Can you do it and pull your navel in? Like my navel's like, no. If you can't, you should come up higher. Okay, half moon like this. So a revolved half moon, I should say. So go ahead and come up on your tippy toes of the back foot. Maybe you're still holding onto your leg for dear life. Maybe your left fingers can come to the floor or a block in front of you a few inches. You'd be kicking your left foot up, and you'd be twisting towards your lifted right arm. Heck, you can even take that right arm forward away from your hips. Stepping into chair pose, we're going to bring that back foot to meet the front foot. Squat down in a nice resting chair, nice restful squat. Like I said, just have fun with it. Okay, so we were just twisting to the right. We'll do the same thing in our chair. I think yep, so you'd be twisting to the right. Coming into a twisted crow. We didn't even do regular crow. Let's do twisting crow. Do you know crow? So crow is an arm balance. It's where we put our hands on the earth and try to pick our feet up. I can't wait to hear. My brother's going to tell me if my nephew liked this one. I can't wait to hear. So from here, you would bring your hands to the earth. I think he's going to like it. Alex, go for it. Flat palms on the ground. Knees are to that left elbow, which, yes, your left elbow they should be. And you're trying to just bear weight safely without face planting. Can you pick up your feet like that? Is that possible? For a few moments. See if you can catch that air. Then elbows, chest forward. The navel in is a really big part of it. It's your center for this place that you are, that's crazy town. And then we'll all release down to low. Now I'm really not doing it. You could take the Chaturanga, the back bend. I'll be resting and catching my breath. As long as you are holding a nice long spine and feeling your belly button move back, you have done every pose just right today. There is no right or wrong beyond that. Playing around with different shapes is supposed to be kind of fun. Things about our consciousness. So having fun. Second round. We went from down dog with a lifted left leg to the sky, hollowing that navel, pulling the foot through to step through to warrior one. So it's the forward facing warrior on this side. And again, we have that back heel and the arms lifting up. Okay, so again, think about it was a major change for me when I was just here thinking about what I was saying and doing versus I'm here and I'm centered in at the core. See if you can get that centered in abdominal core for another exhale. In Revolve Triangle, you twist towards your front leg. You would bring that hand down to the thigh, shin, foot, block, left arm would come to the sky. This is a really big stretch for the front leg, that outer hip. That's where I feel it. Maybe you feel it somewhere else, through your chest, through your feet. Where do you feel it? And can you feel it in your navel? That's the most important thing. One more try here to get that navel back. And then revolved half moon. This is where we take it into a balance shape. Maybe you bring it's helpful. I can actually see where I am. We should put mirrors in the studio. People say that all the time. Anyway, so nice. So you're looking towards your lifted arm. Maybe you take that arm forward. Maybe you're stretching it away from your back foot. Stay for one more breath. And then the feet together for chair pose, coming into that low squat. It's the same twist. You still twist your chest towards the left leg and reach the elbow down to bind. Maybe you were like, that side crow thing was BS. I don't want to do that again. Thanks. You can stay right here. But we would be trying it again. So from where you are, maybe you're bringing your two hands to the ground outside your left and sort of catch your weight on your hands gradually. Coming onto your tippy toes, bending your elbows, looking forward towards the fingertips and beyond. So as you find yourself in that position, does it even feel like fun to try to lift up off your feet? Would it even feel like a nice stretch or a good experiment? If you're like, no, thanks, don't do it. If it's fun, try it. Try it for another round of breath. Think about the navel as your stable center. We'll all come back to center. Options here include stepping back, moving through Chaturanga, Vinyasa. I'll be sitting, catching my breath again. Wherever you are, staying for one more breath. And we're all coming up to stand. So from where you are, what would be a good way to get your feet to your hands to your feet? From a forward fold, maybe you want to take your good sweet time up to stand. I forgot to say this class would run a little bit over an hour, so I think we're approaching an hour right now. Just a little bit beyond that, it will run over that hour mark. So we're taking tree pose. So I'll be facing, it's my right leg, which looks wrong on Facebook. And the tree pose, you can have your foot low to the ground. You can have it way up high into your upper inner thigh. And press your foot against your leg against your foot. Hands can come to prayer, or if you know anything else you'd like to do, you can take your arms up for tree. And keep it low. Guess what you can do with your navel is work that exhale. It's a really nice pose because you've got that buttress effect where your legs are actually touching in on each other. That's a nice place to experiment with the navel exhale. So whichever leg is bent, you're going to bring that leg forward and try to hover it. Now, if this gets tricky, I should have said this already, you could put your hand on dancer. So if you know dancer's pose, off you go. I'm going to talk you through it slow. The ability to stand with knees side by side, holding on to that foot, you know, even if that needed to be on a chair or something, and you're reaching for it, that's a good starting position. And I would stay there. If you can't stand with knees side by side and pulling the navel, taking a bigger back bend isn't all it's cracked up. The bigger back bend, you start to kick that lifted foot and the forward stretching arm trying to touch each other overhead, up tall to the sky. Your belly button is your friend. Use it for one more breath here. Down, would you like to step your feet wide? Maybe rest your hands on your body. Shake that out if you wish. And then take that second side. So standing on your right foot, if you're with me, it's your left foot up. Standing into that, you can either have your foot low, which apparently I'm supposed to show on this side. This is my old ankle sprain foot. It has a mind of its own, but then you could also place the foot up high. Again, there's something nice about pressing your legs physically against each other that might get a little bit of that lifted core. From here, we're moving into that dancer shape. So it's the same leg that was just bent. It would be that hand reaching back for the inner ankle or foot. Once you've got it, if you've got your knees side by side and you can pull in your navel, then that would be a good sort of prep. It's kind of like, does your neutral core have the length before you would ask it to find length and back bend? So I think it's always advisable to have it in neutral before you take a bigger shape. Always. Unless there's a reason not to. So trying to kick that back foot as high as you can, if and only if it makes sense. And then working your exhale, reaching your forward arm and your back foot towards each other overhead. Imagine them touching. Some of you probably could touch them. Stay for one more exhale there. And then release. We take the feet side by side, rest your body, maybe opposite. Coming down. I'm going to just tilt these a little bit better for that. Okay, and then you're coming down to have a seat for revolved head to knee pose. I'm going to take my right foot forward. And it's kind of like tree. It's kind of like seated tree. My friend Sarah called it like that. So seated tree, you've got that same idea that the bend towards the straight leg with your belly button. So try to get your belly button itself to be oriented towards the straight leg. And then once you've got that rotation, then you take the fold towards it. Some of us, that range of motion is really tight, so you could also have your hands back on blocks. If you can get your belly button towards that foot and fold a comfortable enough amount, I'm going to ask you to take that really long, slow exhale, pause at the bottom for a few seconds. Once you're ready to do so, maybe even closing your eyes. Exhale as long and slow as you can, pulling in your navel. At the bottom, holding your breath, imagine your belly button is nudging up your spine towards the top of your head. We'll take one last full cycle here. Maybe that's like a minute if you're holding your breath a long while. Maybe you take a quick one and then we'll all meet in a lifted vertical spine. When you're ready, a lifted vertical spine, you can adjust a moment to what you just did. Sometimes it really changes your sinuses. The sensory system, the cranial nerves get a lot of extra space when we do this right. And sometimes it's just nice to receive it before we jump ahead. We're going to take the bent leg up on top of the straight leg for a seated twist. So that would be one option, is just take my left. So then up and over, and if you're like, I'm flexy, then you could also bring the bottom foot to the outer hip, and we're all going to twist towards the bent knee on top. Any arm bind that you like, you could just be holding on with the hand, with the elbow. You could take your hands to prayer again. You could take your fingers to the ground. I kind of like that one. You can turn your gaze over the left shoulder. So the same way your belly button is turning to the left, you can turn your gaze over the left shoulder. Find one more exhale that really counts. And then come back around through center. In between, we'll take a nice restful boat pose. Thanks, Tracy. Only Tracy pushes me like that. No, so many good West End yoga teachers push me when I'm all by myself. I'm like, Shavasana? Is it time yet? Here we go. We're taking boat pose. So you can take your legs, tippy toes on the table. You can try to stretch your legs straight. You can try to reach your hands. I like a prayer over the toes. You can look up. You can get your belly button to engage. Try for one more breath here. And then release. Left leg is straight, right leg is bent for a revolved head to knee pose, Jonina. It's head to shin or ankle, really. If you think about it now, as we're turning towards the straight leg, belly button faces it, and then you want to fold. Your head could go way past your knee. You can hold on with your props again. Whatever you did before, try to do that again. Your exhales are gold. Go for it. You can find that pause at the bottom. Hold your breath for a couple of seconds. Finishing your last full round here. That might just be a short one, or maybe your exhale is so long and your pause is so extended that maybe this is almost another minute. When you're ready, we'll meet in a vertical spine. Releasing your inhale, releasing your leg. We'll pause for a moment. Again, imagine that you've spun the brainstem. It happened. It could have happened. It's all fun and games until you spin your brainstem and don't receive it. You know what I mean? So then I'll take that bent knee up and over the bottom leg. You're turning towards the lifted knee, either with your bottom leg straight. You know, there's lots of options. You can be turning towards it from a very tall space. a little bit closer in on it if you want. You can bend the bottom knee so that the foot is by your side hip. And then again, find the arm bind that supports you. Again, you can stay nice and tall. You're turning towards the top bent knee. You can turn your belly button over it, past it. You can turn your gaze beyond it. And you can have your arms in any bind that you like. We will slowly come back around to face forward. Boat pose onto our backs. So it's tough, but then it gets easier. So we take our boat pose, just this time as a transition. So you can keep your toes on the ground or you can hover your legs. And if you'd like, you can take the hovering version of the boat. We're almost lying on our backs. Jamie, I see you. And then when you're ready, you can release your knee down for Shavasana prep. So as we're prepping for this pose, take a moment, maybe bend your knees, windshield wiper your knees side to side. Maybe you want to keep your feet on the ground and just kind of rest your knees against each other. Maybe you want to take a couple of deep breaths here, opening your mouth for the exhale side. Maybe you want to grab a blanket and place it over you, or a bolster, and put it under your knees. And again, this is a home practice, of course, so you could take this shape. You could pause this thing right now. If so, thank you so much. Maybe you'll tune in for the last moments later and stay in Shavasana for as long as you'd like. You know, when I take Shavasana by myself, sometimes if I have time, it's over 10 minutes. Trying to stay conscious and awake, trying to turn towards the stillest possible physical body, the softest physical body. So in other words, you'd be watching your belly button rise and fall as little as possible, as little as feels good. You'd be trying to breathe as little as you need. You'd be trying to still your energy and still your mind so that you could even rest sort of just above that brain stem and the third eye, or even, you know, beyond your body at the cranium, at the crown chakra. So you can just be as subtle, as energetic as possible, almost like we stay connected to the cord of the navel, the physical body, but we get as light and spiritually uplifted from it as possible. So you can do that for 10 minutes or more. Please, by all means, have at it. I'll just be showing it for about a minute now, just to show Shavasana for those that are like, what are we doing? Arms and legs would be relaxing in a comfortable way for you. Again, that could have props underneath the knees. I always recommend taking the shoulder blades together. And if you have the room, take your arms far enough away that you don't touch your upper arm skin so you can really rest your back. Again, you may want to pause. You may want to stay on your back much longer. I would have for sure after a feisty plank situation and all that good stuff you just did. You deserve lots of rest. Feel free. But if you're ready from here, you would start to reawaken. You could turn your head side to side. You could take some deeper breaths. You could roll your hands on your wrists and your feet on your ankles. When you take those deeper breaths, you might even want to open your mouth again for some of those exhales that are like a lion's quiet roar. Very powerful, very ancient gift from our yoga ancestors. The yogis who came before us wanted to remind us that if we are in our bodies with mindfulness, we can hone our concentration, direct our awareness with great specificity and care, and we can choose for ourselves who we want to be as a society. So with your ancestors close to your heart, let's start to hug your knees in. If they're not already, you can turn over to one side of your body. And from a side lying position, gently push your way up to sit. So coming to maybe a cross-legged seat, you could have your ankles such that your heels are sort of stacked in front of your pubic bones, or you could have your shins crossed a little bit, different angles. Which one feels nice? Let's bring our hands to prayer in front of our hearts then. Just reconnect to that navel, reconnect to the exhale that is on purpose around your belly, around your abdominal border. At the beginning of this practice, we're going to be told a lot of things about ourselves in our lifetime, and there's this very important teaching in yoga that I would love to remind us all that we are that which we are bringing our attention to. So we are bringing ourselves with purpose, with consciousness towards whatever we focus on. And that does not mean we should only focus on good things. That is not what I'm saying. That is not the teaching. We should focus on reality. And we should focus on the suffering of others. And then we should focus on suffering in general. And then we should focus on what we can do to be the change. How can we alleviate suffering for ourselves, for the earth, for all beings? It is not about focusing on what feels good. It is not about happy, positive thoughts all of the time. That's not always appropriate. Sometimes it is. And sometimes we have to look at what's going on that we are a part of and doing what we can to change it, to make it better. May this practice be a benefit to you and all sentient beings. You could lift your hands to your third eye if you wish. We could bow to each other and all of our teachers. Namaste. Thank you all so much. Have a good rest of your day.